Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
And then now we'll go into holistic instruction, which is teaching them how to teach. Is that correct?
No, it'd be yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking the kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you teach the adult how to actually teach.
Okay.
So we used to always, kind of break it down into threes for them, like an opening, a middle, and a closing.
Okay.
So we would say in the opening, start with their prior knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, give them whatever you're doing. Hey, we're going to do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches today. So what do you guys know about peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Okay.
Right? You're going to get every cockamamie thing out there, right? Yeah. And so they're going to go through and say whatever they say. I like to put it on the board because kids feel all good. Like I'm the one that said you cut it diagonally versus in squares, or that kind of stuff. So you find out their prior knowledge, and you say, okay, great, I understand. So you got, here's what we're doing. Kind of set that in the opening, and then prior knowledge. That's your opening.
Yeah.
So then you go into the teaching part of it. So you're gonna, you're gonna teach them, and you're gonna teach them some more.
Right.
So you're going to tell them first, kind of like what we do, touch the bases.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're going to talk about our bread. We're going to talk about our supplies. We're going to talk about the jelly. We're going to talk about the peanut butter, whatever.
Yeah.
Just touch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to go into depth and teaching now, And then you're going to say, okay, on top of all that, I'm going to demonstrate. So the first one is you're going to teach them.
Yeah.
The second one, you demonstrate. Remember, that goes back to the gradual release responsibility.
Yeah.
I show you, you don't do anything. Right?
Yeah.
So then what happens is that we say, still kind of in the meat of it, now you're going to practice.
Right.
So that's kind of how that's going to roll out.
Okay.
I'm going to teach and demonstrate, and then you're going to go practice.
Got it.
So they're practicing, blah, 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 all the above. And so the next part is what I call teachable moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I stop everybody. Ready? Hit. They're instantly there. I said, hey, I want to talk to you guys about something because I saw little Johnny here, and he happened to put the peanut butter on one side and the jelly on the other. And we didn't talk about that in the opening when I asked for prior knowledge. What do you know about it? So let's talk about that now. Does it really matter? We figure out, no, it doesn't matter. It's still going in your mouth. It's going to come out your butt, whatever, right? So we would talk about all of that. We call those teachable moments.
Okay.
And then at the end, what do you think we do? We do a review and a reflection, right?
Got it.
So we review. Hey, here, the review is what I think are the top 3 things that they should know.
Okay.
Okay. Here are the top 3 things that you should know. And then in the reflection is their things. Okay.
Okay.
So they would say, my confirmation was this, or my aha was this, or my tweak was that.
Got it.
But at the very end, all that madness,
Yeah.
and this is a very sad story, and I'm not happy about it, but we learned. That's an activity.
Yeah.
That's it. We did an activity with the kids. But if you do not make that activity a learning opportunity, then you have failed as a teacher. And let me tell you how we failed. So we actually were doing peanut butter and jelly before, so it worked out good. I remember I used that as an analogy. Yeah. And there was I think a 5th or a 6th grader, I can't remember. So we taught them how to make peanut butter and jelly, and real good at it and everything. And about a week later, we found out that her, I think she was 3 or 4 years old. Her sister was starving, and so CPS went in and did their thing and whatever. And we found out there was peanut butter and jelly available, and the bread was available for the kid.
Yeah.
But because we only made an activity, that 5th and 6th grader or 6th grader wasn't able to say, I didn't know that I could be feeding my child, knowing full well that my parents aren't doing it. They never thought that.
Yeah.
So we always wanted to say, let's take it a step further. How might this key learning or this confirmation tweak, aha, whatever, how might you use this in the real world?
Right, to tie it in.
That's right. Now it becomes extremely powerful. So not only are we solidify their learning, how do you use that out there? Because school is the practicing ground for the real world.
Yeah.
Right? Just like they say, you learn to read when you're real young so that you can read to learn the rest of your life, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah. I think you did right.
Yeah, you learn to read so that you can read to learn, right? And so it's that kind of stuff that seems, kind of elementary and simple, but it's missed.
Right.
And so we're going now, we start stringing part of the Nifty 9 together. You can instruct well, and plus you can debrief and tie it together. whoop,
Yeah.
whoop, whoop, right?
Got it.
And so we say that, probably we do more of a reflection there because we do more of a debrief as the actual nifty nine.
Nice.
Yeah,
Got it.
but to me they're one the same. They're handled a little differently.
Okay, got it. And so before we get into debrief, we have transitions.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, so right. I mean, this is another thing people just struggle at. So it was really cool for us because we were able to beat all this stuff ourselves, over a long period of time. You know, and so you forget.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so transitions, we go all up and down the state, all over, and even throughout the nation. And it was like, dude, people don't know how to do a transition.
Okay.
So let's first define it.
Yeah.
It's the closing down of one activity or hopefully learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And opening up another. Right? That's as simple as it is.
Yeah.
So again, we go back to what we were talking about earlier. So let's go with the opening. So, we're going from the opening and we're going to go into our first rotation, which we'll say was the club enrichment, right?
Yeah.
So we got to close this down. So, hey, ready, hit, or, grandma used to do a lot of.
Okay.
Or you could do lights off and on, or you could do SpongeBob, SquarePants, because we used to ask them, what would you want to do? And they would, they do something like that. SpongeBob, SquarePants, because that's more ownership. I told them on the ready hit, that was a non-negotiable for me.
Right.
And I just said, this is what I'm doing. This is my 10% of the time where I make the decision. Because it was just, I needed to be able to have 270 and it just worked.
Yeah.
But everybody had variations of that. But anyway, can you tell me that question again?
I'm talking about transition.
Yeah. So we got, hey, we're getting ready to close down the opening. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that need to happen to get this closed down correctly? And we're getting ready to go into the other one. And so let's say we close it down and we get them in line.
Yeah.
Right. So we do that and we get them in line and say, hey, we're getting ready to go into da-da-da. What do you think things would be important? So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now it's getting them to where they're making all the decisions. Dude, at the end of when we would meet with people and consult with them, do you know that there were times when we would bring in heavy hitters like, people that maybe want to donate or whatever, and they go, where are the adults at? Because we eventually had the kids running the program.
Oh.
They run the whole program, and the adults would be on the side, and they wouldn't even notice them. Mm-hmm. Because, we call, like the leadership.
Yeah.
So we had a student that was the acting principal or site director.
Right.
We had ones that would teach, whatever.
Right.
This sixth grader would teach a sixth grader because they were like a ninth grader. This sixth grader would teach a fourth grader, right? So, that was the ultimate goal is we always say work our way out of a job, right? And so on and so forth. But that was transitions. It was real simple. Close this down, and then maybe there's a little transition to the transition of opening this up.
Right.
Or you could do it all at once. I mean, there's variations of it.
Got it. And then to finish it off, you always did the debrief.
Always. And so now we used to do it two ways. We would do, again, we kind of clumped it, but we would do a review if we had to go real quick or just a check-in. So we could do it as, if we were running behind for some reason and we just had to go real quick, we would say, hey, everybody, we want to know what kind of time you had. Thumbs up, side, or down. Right? So it's just a check-in. Or, hey, if you thought that red shirt on Monday was correct, thumbs up, right? So if you had to be quick, we would just do what we called a check-in.
Right.
If you had more time, you would do the review, which would be very specific and, hey, your confirmation was this. You'd have a couple of them share out. My tweak was this, or my aha was that, right? And so they would share out a couple of them. But everybody was thinking about it because they didn't know who's going to be called on.
Right, so it was,
Yeah, so you're right. It's just like what I used to say, and remind me about the debrief, so I want to go more specific on that. But, I used to watch some of the practices where people would go to you, and it's like, dude, 80% of the people are standing doing nothing. Why would you do that? So we wanted to always keep everybody involved.
Moving involved.
That's right. Yeah. So when I was coaching, there's nobody sitting around, right? So if you were the group playing, then sometimes I'd have you watch for schematical understanding. But other times you'd be working on your skills or, shooting or doing whatever. Then we'd rotate. People, it was going like this. And then the last part of it is a debrief, and we did that very specific. And do you think that I explained the reflection correctly? Because sometimes I go a little fast because we've already talked about it before.
Yeah.
You think we're okay there?
Yeah.
So then the debrief was when you had a lot of time. and I used to say at least one debrief at the end of the day, and several reviews and several reflections, and maybe several more check-ins, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, so if you've done that 10, 20, 15 times as a whole,
Yeah.
but I said before you leave, the kids leave, I want to do a debrief. And so the way we would do that is, what was your key learning or learnings for the day, kids? So you give them a minute or so. How might you use that in your personal life? And so they would, say, well, what do you mean my personal life? Anytime that it's not your professional life, they go, what's professional life?
Right.
I said, it's called school for you guys.
Yeah.
It's called work for your mom and dad. So how might you use this in your personal life? And they go, okay, my key learning was red shirt on Monday. Well, how might you use that in your personal life? Well, if I wear a red shirt to church, then people like it. But whatever they're going to say.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, well, how might you use that in a professional manner? Well, if I wear red shirts, I stand out, and it's better safety for the kid. Whatever.
Right.
And then I would say, okay, and then we would twist it on them, right? And we say, okay, so are you committed to do what you said you're going to do in each of those areas?
Yeah.
And what's the time frame and the deadline for that? And we figured if they said, like, you and I've talked about this before. Oh, 2 weeks from now. No, you won't. Just like an appointment.
Right.
No, you won't.
You gotta,
Yeah. If it's not within 72 hours, you do it, you lose it. Yeah. So that's how we did that. And that solidifies the learning. So what we're trying to do is the learning on the front end. We're trying to squeeze it in by doing some of those things and the learning opportunity, right?
Yeah.
The closing, the review, we're squeezing it. And at the very end, we're really solidifying it. And we used to tell them, if your mom asked you on the way home, what did you do today? And you tell them nothing, we are going to get you the next day. You should tell them what your key learning was, your confirmation week. And so we would have teachers that would come out and watch what we would do. They've been teaching for 10 years. And I used to bet them. I used to win so many. I never lost a bet. They go, my kindergartner can't do that. I go, oh, how much you want to bet? Right. We bet, lunch or whatever. Instantly, I'd go in. Hey, da-da-da, what was the key learning? They go, I don't know what that is. Say, oh, well, what'd you like the best? Oh, I like the color. I like the da-da-da-da-da. Oh, really? How could you use that at your house? Well, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. Do you ever help your dad pay? So we would go through this, and at the end, the teacher would be like, that is so awesome. So it was really cool that we were able to, I always say, what kind of leader are you? When you can push from the middle, meaning you don't have positional title. Yeah. That's when you're a great leader. Well, we were able to push the K-12 educators based off the stuff that we would do. Because the first graders would go, hey, teacher, how come we don't debrief in here in K-12 education? Right. Right? So then they'd come back, what is this debrief stuff? Or what is this? Yeah. And then they'd do it, and it was like, man, this is amazing. And we're like, yeah, duh. Yeah.
Got it. And so then that completes the Nifty 9.
Yes.
And then we move into quality program.
Yes.
Which is how you structured your day. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically.
Basically, okay. And so I know you discussed already the quality program. Would you want me to go through and say, hey, how did you specifically do it, or do you want me to go into my second line of questioning?
I think maybe go with that, and then we'll save that for the second video, maybe. Okay. Yep. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it seems like the flows that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So then, with the pre-opening, what did that look like for you guys? Like, where did that start? Where did that end?
Well, it starts from technically the time you wake up until the time you actually are on campus. Okay. Right? In that case. Okay. So, there's a lot of pre-up stuff going on. You got to, get ready. You got to eat. You got to shower. Right? So it's not just, we didn't want people just to think about, you're only getting ready for work. We put that as your whole life. Yeah. What do you need to do? I need to pay the bills. I need to blah, 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 both personal and professional. So when we would train them in what we call competency, which is this specific thing to do this. Right. But we do capacity, which would help you in your whole life. Yeah. Right? Okay. So, it didn't matter what profession you were in, or if you had 2 jobs or whatever. It's the time from you, for the kids, they had a pre-up. From the time that they woke up until the time they stepped foot on that campus. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And technically, it was actually not just stepping foot on the campus. It was actually to wherever your destination was. So, if to get into your pre-up, which would be the classroom or the meeting place or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
So technically it's a little further than just stepping on campus.
Got it. And then you moved into the pre-opening.
Yes.
Which was when, what again?
So that's when the lead adult or the
Oh.
facilitator would, meet with the people. But prior to that, that's when the people would be getting, crossing T's and dotting I's. I got to get extra crayons from yesterday. I've got to get extra scissors. I've got to get extra supplies. I got to get my lesson plans right. Maybe they watched a video. Consult for Kids has 400 videos. I got to watch a video because I didn't know how to do that very good. Oh, yeah. I walk over to them and I keep teaching on behavior guide, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So they would do that. But at the end, they would do, the lead dog, so to speak, would do a check-in with them and just see, how you doing personally, how you doing professionally. We do like mini OTJs or just a check-in or, hey, I needed to give you, some understanding today. So the principal was very upset that in room 4, whatever. I mean, communication, calendar, upcoming events, and just trying to get everybody on the same page.
And that was on a daily basis?
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this whole Super 7 or quality program in general was every day, other than the Elite 8 was once a week.
Yeah, so all of those sections were there, and then we just added the additional section because there's an extra hour or so.
Got it. Okay. And then you had the opening.
Yeah.
And that's now where the adult is with the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what we would do is there were some things that the adults had to do, count the snacks and do different things of that nature. But we always had a couple of greeters. So when they walked in, again, like we said, high five. We want them to really understand the transition. Hey, you're transitioning from the instructional day to after school day, and this is a different environment, a different world, a different whatever.
Yeah.
So we'd high five, do all that stuff. Then they'd go to their table, and then the snacks were distributed. They'd take roll, and then they would do some kind of a check-in. Hey, how, thumbs up, sideways down, or how's it going? Or hey, we're gonna sing to Jill today, or whatever.
Got it.
And so they would do their group stuff. So we'd do it with them individually. We'd do it with them as a group, and then we usually had a challenge like teachers versus kids, and we would do something in there in the opening where it'd get pretty rowdy and fun. Because again, transitioning from more of this studious type day to whatever. So we would do that, and then we would do general announcements. Hey, remember this Friday we've got Terrific Tuesday coming on, or we've got Spaghetti Wednesday with your parents, or we're doing a fundraiser, whatever. Right? Get everybody on the same page. And so all of that was happening in the opening. And as I said earlier, to us, not that we were trying to put on a show for anybody, but these after-school professionals were working extremely hard, and they were being unnoticed. Right. And so we were like, hey, let's knock it out of the park. Well, you hear people screaming from the cafeteria, people come peek their head in. Like, what's going on? Yeah. And they see all this fun and excitement and high-fiving, and they're like, wait a minute, maybe we should be doing that stuff.
Got it. And so do you think it's fair to say that the kids were more excited to go to after-school program than they were to actually go to school?
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it'd be like me asking you, hey, were you more excited to go to sports or to go from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 before sports?
Right, yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Right, got it.
Right, it's like, dude, I only went to school so I could play sports.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the only reason I went to school.
Yeah. So then we move into the 3 rotations.
Yeah.
Which, remind me what those 3 are, and then...
So let's go with my favorite, which was club enrichment. Okay. So we would call it usually enrichment for elementary kids, and then clubs for the older kids, like, middle school or junior high. Okay. Or even high school kids. But, that was whatever. I mean, we've had crazy kind of clubs. We've had skateboard clubs. We've had, of course, the norm, music, sports, dance, all of that. Yeah. But what do they call it, origami or, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what you name it, the clubs, and the kids would just pick, like, hey.
This is.
Yeah, and then we would find a tutor. And usually, like one time it was jiu-jitsu. We had to get, all these things from the... Yeah. But it worked out where they let him do it. Well, we didn't have a jiu-jitsu teacher. Nobody knew it. Yeah. So we brought in somebody special for that.
Okay.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
So he looks at me, 8th grade special day kid, looks me square in the face, and he goes, Mr. Zandis, you know what? I've been noticing something. You're on your feet all day. I think you need to get a nice pair of shoes.